difference between the Pirates and these 6 teams is that all 6 of them are in the process of a rebuild. The Miami Marlins roster purge is well documented. The Toronto Blue Jays have pumped new blood through the Great White North, ready to lead them into the next decade. The Baltimore Orioles are a year into their rebuild. The Seattle Mariners raided their roster in the offseason, while the Kansas City Royals and Detroit Tigers know they need to sink before they can swim again in the AL Central. I don't know why Huntington is so reluctant to start a rebuild. Sure, Tucker, Keller, and probably Ke'Bryan Hayes will get chances in September, but that's not good enough. 2019 has been a nightmare, and 2020 doesn't look much better. Maybe Huntington hasn't lost his mind, but he sure seems like a man who's clutching in 2015 as if he's trying to avoid falling off the UPMC building. The Pirates can get to the top again if they recognize the need to rebuild. While all this cannot be pinned on Huntington as he works for a boss whose pride and joy is the bottom line, he hasn't helped the problem. Huntington resurrected this team once before, but he doesn't deserve the chance to do it again. He simply doesn't. Again, he is clutching towards laurels and holding on to 2015. He is. Neil Huntington is a smart man. He is not dumb. Okay, you don't turn one of the greatest professional sports embarrassments into a perennial playoff contender being your local village idiot. You don't. He is not a stupid person, and I guarantee you he knows he has to rebuild. But he is afraid to do so. And I'm sorry, but that fear needs to result in him losing his job. It does. But at the end of the day, will he? Will Bob Nutting fire him? Because at the end of the day, all Bob Nutting cares about is his bottom line. And if Neil Huntington is driving his bottom line, bringing in the money that he, satisfies him, then he's not going to get fired. Neil Huntington does not deserve the chance to resurrect this team. Again, he doesn't. Clint Hurdle does not deserve the chance to even manage again tonight. He doesn't. Ray Sears does not deserve the chance to have another reclamation project. He doesn't. Okay, the ship has sailed on times for giving guys second chances because it's not even a second chance. It's a second, third, fourth chance to do it right again. Because this is the 4th summer in a row that we have experienced this type of disappointment. And this is the worst type of disappointment we've seen in the Clint Hurdle era. This is just as bad baseball as we saw before Clint Hurdle in the early 2000s. It is. And again, it all goes back to the idea of accountability and holding guys accountable for what has been done. You can't keep pointing fingers at circumstances and say this, and this is the reason why we're not winning. If we can have this happen right and this happen right, we're going to win the World Series in 2020. No, it doesn't work like that. I'm sorry. And they keep feeding us the same lies over and over and over again. Next year. Well, when is it going to be time to realize that, hey, there's not going to be that next year? When are we going to realize that? When is management going to realize that? People need to be held accountable. And if you're going to take away anything from this show today, anything, is that if these guys continue to hang around, there's no accountability in this organization, and they don't care about winning. And that sucks to say, but you see, what my job is and what I do is I take a look at the picture and I try to tell it how it is. Obviously, I have the inherent Pirates bias, but I'm just trying to tell it how it is. And I know there are a fair amount of people that, bow at the shrine of the Pirates and think every decision they make and every move they make is fantastic. But we've seen over the past 26 days or this past month that we are not a good baseball team. We suck. And that sucks to say, but that is the truth. And if you're a franchise losing this much, it's not going to be much better next year. And a lot of that has to do with we're not going to improve enough between November and February, thanks in part to Mr. Bob Nutting. It's a sad reality, but it's a reality that we face. And if we do not enter into rebuild mode, we're going to be stuck in this baseball fan purgatory that we all so hate. A rehabbing veteran pitcher returned to action in the minor leagues for the Pittsburgh Pirates on Tuesday night. This offseason, the Pirates signed veteran right-handed pitcher Tom Koehler to a minor league contract. Koehler, who has pitched for the Miami Marlins and Toronto Blue Jays, had not pitched since 2017. However, his long road back now has a light at the end of the tunnel. On Tuesday night, Koehler pitched in a game for the first time since September 29th, 2017, when he took to the hill for the Gulf Coast League Pirates. For Koehler just to toe the rubber again had to be a great feeling. It undoubtedly had to be a relief as well. Facing the Gulf Coast League Twins, Koehler pitched 2/3 of an inning on Tuesday night. He was charged for 2 runs on 2 hits, no walks, no home runs allowed, and a strikeout. Koehler also hit a batter. While the outing did not go as he had hoped, all that mattered was Koehler was back on a mound and pitching in a game. In 784 and a third career MLB innings, Koehler owns a 4.39 ERA, 4.49 FIP, and a 4.0 F4. He's pitched in 161 MLB games, with 133 of them being relief outings. Prior to the start of the 2018 season, Koehler signed a 1-year contract with the Los Angeles Dodgers. However, due to shoulder issues that led to a surgery, he never pitched for the Dodgers. The Dodgers have released Koehler in November of 2018. It will be intriguing to watch how Koehler progresses the rest of the season. If he can prove he is healthy and begin to build his arm back up, then he could see some time in the Arizona Fall League in an effort to continue to build his arm up. Koehler could be an intriguing pitching option for the Pirates at some point in 2020. And we talked about this back when the Pirates signed Tom Koehler in the offseason to a minor league contract, that hey, he's not going to pitch in 2019, but more of a long game 2020 type outset for Mr. Koehler. And again, you cannot at all take stock in the numbers from his outing on Tuesday night in the Gulf Coast League. It is 2/3 of an inning. Yes, what happened. It didn't go as he had hoped. But what matters is he had his feet on the rubber again, and he was pitching professionally. Yeah, that is what matters. And he did it. It's going to be intriguing, and that's going to be one of the things that Pirates fans can watch the remainder of the season. Yes, it's not going to be going on the forefront, but in the background to see how Tom Koehler progresses, and we'll keep you updated on his progression in his rehab. If he can build his arm up and go to the Arizona Fall League and continue to build that arm up, at some point in 2020, he could be an intriguing pitching option either for the rotation, but most likely in a bullpen role. And again, this is a classic scenario of a very, very low risk, but a potentially high reward situation, and, a classic Neil Huntington move. And hopefully by 2020, Huntington won't be here, Sears won't be here, Hurdle won't be here. But at the end of the day, it's still a nice story to see, and I would like to see him get to Pittsburgh at some point in 2020. And again, we'll see if this team can be competitive. I want them to go into full rebuild mode. It is that time. It is that time. And, Tom Koehler will be a nice story in 2020. Hopefully by the time we are, entering into that rebuild mode. Because here's the thing, and I just want to go back to the rebuild, conversation as a whole. We, as an organization, are in the worst possible place you can be. We are stuck in the middle. But here's the thing. There are only 6 teams worse than us in all of Major League Baseball. Those teams are the Orioles, the Tigers, the Royals, the Blue Jays, the Marlins, and the Tigers. You know the difference between those 6 teams and this team, though? Those 6 teams have embraced their rebuild. They have. This team, this Pirates team, is refusing to do so. And again, this offseason, there better be a big makeover. 2020, if we're going to be headed into the right direction, which we could very well be, we could head into that right direction. It's going to be a lot of changes, and it's going to be tough to swallow, but again, if we want success, sustainable success here in Pittsburgh, changes need to be made. They do, and that's the reality. And that's a very, very tough pill to swallow. Again, if you have followed this podcast or my Instagram account for any length of time, you know how much I love this team, and you know how much I want them to see, how much I want to see them succeed. But in order for us to see that success, we're going to have to, manufacture it with some pretty big wholesale changes. Let's take a peek at what the Pirates got coming up this week, and again, what to look for if you're going to continue watching. And, if you're listening this deep into the podcast, I'd assume you would continue to watch. So, today, the Pirates got Joe Musgrove going up against the Cardinals. Adam Wainwright will be pitching for St. Louis. We do have a lineup just came out. So let's dive right into that. Batting first and at second base is Adam Frazier. Bad decision there. Batting second and left, Brian Reynolds. Batting third and center, Starling Marte. Cleaning up at first, Josh Bell. In right, Jose Osuna. At third, Colin Moran. At short, Kevin Newman. Catching, Jacob Starling. And doing the pitching is Joe Musgrove. And I just want to take a second to address, what I believe the right direction is. Okay, so the middle infield, combination needs to be Tucker and Newman. Ke'Bryan Hayes needs to get a shot at third base, right? And this all needs to happen. Mitch Cole needs to be here for the remainder of the season. Hurdle needs to be fired. Sears needs to be fired. Huntington needs to be fired. Message needs to be fired. Pretty much everyone on this coaching staff besides Exine and Cruz need to be fired. Pablo Reyes, Eric Gonzalez, no reason for them to be here. Dario Agrisol and Alex McRae can't keep being given opportunities. Like there are pretty easy decisions that can be made that are going to improve this team moving forward. But again, they're stuck in the past, and the Pirate way is the pathetic way at this point. We'll put it at that. On Sunday, to wrap up this series, Stephen Brault will go up against Miles Michaelis. Brault has been fantastic this season. I really love what I've been seeing from him. Then the Pirates head to Anaheim to take on the Angels. Mitch Keller makes a start on Monday. Start is still to be determined for that entire Angels series for the Angels. And then Tuesday and Wednesday to be determined. And the Pirates come home to play the Cubs. And if you remember, this coming Sunday is Little League Classic. So that's also something to look forward to if you're a Pirates fan. But again, big things to watch for. See how Brian Reynolds does in the batting title race. A very good week. He batted .417. He is 5 points behind Jeff McNeil and Christian Yelich. So keep an eye out on that. I am intrigued to see how Trevor Williams bounces back from his last start. And then keep an eye on Tom Kohler as well. And then Mitch Keller also, big start for him on Monday night. So if you want to stay up, have some late night bucking, we will definitely be doing that as well. Please give me a follow on Instagram at BucksDagger for all up-to-date Pirates coverage. We are the most active and best Pirates Instagram account out there. So if you want your news, immediately follow, turn on post notifications, and we always get it out. We're the first ones on the scene. And then, again, huge shout out. Thank you for listening to this episode. I apologize for not being here last week. And if you're listening this deep into the show, you're obviously a true Pirates fan. And I appreciate that. We're going to get through this. We are. And it's all about, we're going to get through this together. There's going to be the trials and tribulations. But again, if the right moves are made, we can be a successful baseball team once again. In our lifetime, at least in my lifetime, I'm hoping that there will be a day when we can say the Pittsburgh Pirates are World Series champions. Keeping faith in that is what we got. We know it's not going to be this year, but these last 7 weeks still do have some intrigue to them, and we'll be sure to cover all of it. My name is Benson Fector. Thank you all for tuning in to Bucko Booth, the Pittsburgh Pirate podcast at the Baseball Podcast Network. We appreciate you for listening. Please give me a follow again on Instagram at BucksDugget, and we will see you here. It will be on noon, back to regular time on Saturday. Until then, have a fantastic, safe week, everybody. Let's go, Bucks.